We're going to talk about badly applied DevOps. So, yeah, we want to challenge you a bit. We know that you're faking DevOps, and we know it. But let's start first with some introductions. I'm Cris Vega. I come from, I'm a computer engineer from the beginning. I've been programming for many years, and then I've been in many positions within the software world. I've been a programmer, I've been a project manager, VP of engineering, and nowadays I work within video games. I'm an executive producer for a game engine in a company called IKEA Interactive. And many years ago, when I started with being manager, and I became a Scrum Master 12 years ago. And since then, I've been following a lot like the Agile world practices, DevOps at IKEA, where I met Anca. I was part of the digital transformation. I was in charge of the CI/CD pipeline and how to move such an old traditional software company into be a bit more DevOps. I also worked at a company called Unity, that it was perpetual licenses of a software, and then we went to more the service-oriented, moved to the cloud, and that was also like some years ago, and I also went through that transformation. And over the years, I've been a big defender of DevOps, automation, Agile, but I also have seen a lot of mortal sins done in the name of DevOps or Agile, and that's what we would like to share a bit today.
Yeah. And about myself, my name is Anca, and I'm today a VP at IKEA. I'm responsible to bring the stores of IKEA into the future. So I'm called the Stores of Tomorrow Engineering. Also, I have a background in computer science engineering. I have a PhD in engineering, and most of my life I actually spent working at Ericsson and 15 years at Sony Mobile. So there you don't really talk about transformation. You are transformed there. So you apply DevOps, you apply agility. But when I left Sony in 2015 and I moved to Maersk Line, I landed in a completely different world. You know, these companies, they don't have software development of their main core business. So there is a different world. So we started their transformation very painful at Maersk. After 2 years of transformation, I have decided to move back to Sweden. So I landed at IKEA. I thought it would be a very easy life. I said, IKEA, it's easy to handle. You don't need to be stressed. But not even 6 months in my new role, we started another digital transformation, trying to be agile, DevOps. We had a new CDO, a very painful transformation, I would say. And I will share more about how we saw how painful can be transformation and how many traps we are getting into. So, with that said, we click. So what is DevOps? Everyone, what is DevOps? But I think today the DevOps is like a buzzword that every big company which is under transformation is using as a transformation solution for bringing software faster on the market to meet the challenging needs of a customer. So they want to be fast, they want to bring quality faster. But are they really managing to do that? Because just using all the tools from DevOps doesn't make you a truly DevOps. We have a say: if it looks like a duck, swim like a duck, quack like a duck, is really a duck. Are they really this company is truly agile, or they are just using and really DevOps, or are they just using DevOps as a PR in a way to attract a lot of newcomers, new engineers, promising them a new transformation when they can develop their software in the way they like it. With that said, let's have a look at the fake DevOps. So, Cris and I, we shared with you, we started the digital transformation, and we have seen many traps. At IKEA 4 years ago, when we started, we wanted to become simple, agile, DevOps. We wanted to follow the Spotify model. How much have we struggled with that? I think even Spotify is struggling with their own model. We couldn't make it because IKEA, it's a monster. It's a complex company. It's not an easy one. We have legacies. We have lots of people. How can we handle DevOps into this situation? So today we are here to share our experience, to show what traps we have fallen into, to share some tips how we have digging out of these traps, and to show you how have we measured that we are on the right track. So with this, I'm handing over to Cris for the first trap.
So yeah, trap number one that we want to talk today. You are doing all the rituals, but the results are not great. One of the things that you might be doing is that you are underestimating the culture and the mindset. So yes, there you go. Like DevOps is very linked also to Agile practices. And also a lot of these traps are linked to the Agile being not rightly practiced. But here you have set up across the teams with different capacities, try to do all the things, all the rituals, but still you're not getting the results. You're not deploying fast enough. You're not getting any of the good things from DevOps. Probably when you decided to do all this framework and realign and organize differently, you didn't get the strong leadership commitment. I mean, usually the companies that are moving to DevOps come from a waterfall and having like deadlines and wanting to hit certain milestones. And then that gives a lot of control to top management. I want this done by then. And I want this. When you go to DevOps and you start transforming and you empower the teams, try to decentralize, you are going to lose some of this overview. That means that the big heads there need to come with that mentality and that trust. So then you need a strong leadership commitment. It's very easy to say, yes, I want to react faster to market, I want all these good things that come, but I still want to know everything that everyone is doing. This comes with empowerment and decentralization. So yeah, the teams need to own what they build and be responsible end-to-end. That means, again, it's a different type of coordination among the teams. So decentralization and empowerment and accountability. Also, meanwhile, you are in this midst of change, you need to accept that the change and some of uncertainty is going to be there, rather than managing the freedom. In many companies, they say, yeah, you do what you want, you build it, you run it, fail fast, fail cheap, but I want that you have this deadline tomorrow, the day after, and please come with a roadmap. Then it's not it. I mean, you cannot have everything, so you really need to have this change of mindset. And also you should do what works for you. A lot of people is like if they buy one off-the-shelf product, and because this company did this or that company did that, we're going to do this framework, and that's going to be awesome for us. No, every company is different. So you need to focus on what you want to achieve, like a culture of trust. You want to gain a speed. And you want to be more resilient, of course, and be cheaper to be wrong, fail cheap. And that needs to be what works for you. You need to focus in this culture, in having those values present in your organization, and then the rest will follow. And in a lot of companies, this is the other way around. They try that this change of culture will happen next year after we have reorganized. It will not happen. You will be failing left and right. So how do you know that you are on the right track? Despite of only having the organization, how do you know that this culture change is happening? So as we see it, culture is a rolling thing. It's like in a given period of time, in maybe 3 months, 4 months, what you reward and what you punish. That's your culture. Like how the people around you is going to behave is when they get like a pat in the back or when they get told that they're wrong. That will drive like the culture of your organization. So then you take like 4 months and what you've been rewarding or not. So if you, for example, have been rewarding not making mistakes, hitting a milestone, and if someone drops the ball, then it's going to be like punished and it's going to be a big thing. Probably you are not rewarding like the DevOps things. Maybe a team that was deploying once every 2 years or once a year, have managed to do 3 deployments in a month. If you're celebrating that, if you're rewarding those behaviors and seeing that the DevOps metrics are progressing and then the people is getting acknowledged for those things, then your culture is changing. And that means that you are in the right track, despite of how the organization is. Probably you have done some organization changes, but focus in the culture.
On the second trap, I think this is one that we have struggled the most at IKEA, and why I'm saying is that we wanted, to create this culture of aligned autonomy. But can we really do it? You have so many legacies. Every feature is dependent on other teams to bring it. All the backlogs are connected to somehow. All the priorities, our roadmaps were connected. How are we going to handle this? It was continuous fight. And then in IKEA, we have a say, you have to do both and, meaning actually you don't have a priority and you have just to manage the complexity. So do it. We have actually even dependencies on, teams when they're putting code in production, destroying the things in the other upstream. So how can we sort out these problems? And we looked a lot what can be done. And in what we have discovered and we see is you have to start looking at your landscape. You need to start modernizing your landscape. And this is the key thing that you need to have in mind when you think about DevOps, because you need to start to create that architecture which is decoupled, where you have standard business APIs, you can expose data, you can look at the data with the different angles. So if you don't invest in modernizing your architecture, your landscape, you are lost. You cannot really do any DevOps. Second thing is going, and I want to say a joke. When we started this modernization, we call it our spaghetti landscape. So that was the word that said, let's despaghettify the landscape. So the first step was actually moving from a spaghetti into a lasagna. We call it, the first level was a lasagna landscape. But actually the next one is about going further. Next step is not only about a decouple with standardized API, it's really about decomposable, reusable modules that you can create the journeys of our customers or coworkers by composing the reusable modules. And I call it this one a meatball architecture. So we are going from a spaghetti to a lasagna to a meatball because we want actually to create simplification. We want to let the teams to be able to focus on it. And the last thing that we are really working, we are not there, it's actually to introduce what we call the in-source model and a federated model. That means that you need to let go the control of your darlings, of your product. You have to let the others to contribute. And this is very difficult. When you are structured, we talk about 3,000 people having their own product. They are loving their products and they want it. How do you let another team to come and contribute to yours? This is very difficult. And also goes a little bit against the whole DevOps because you need to put standards in place, how you do this in contribution model. But this is the only way you can play with the line autonomy and with the mindset. And how do you actually measure that you are on the right track with that? And for me, you see that already you are gaining speed. So when you have these modules that multiple teams can work on it, you see that you are gaining speed. You see that you are not fighting on priorities any longer because say, okay, this is my backlog. I can implement my feature, but if another team needs to work on the same product, we can do it together. So that's the second one. And first, actually, you are becoming more optimal. You don't need so many people to work in the team, so you can reuse the resources to develop the product in the future. And that, number 3.
So yeah, you're not investing enough in people and modernization. I mean, a new company, a startup, a website, or a new software that starts now, new app, it's not that difficult to set up in a way that you are DevOps. Also, you get to hire whoever you want. So you search for the talent that you need. But if you are a business that has been running for 20 years, you have your own software that maybe you cannot use any of these tools that compile and they do all these security code scans. And you have that software with that code. But you also have your people. You also have people that has worked with you for 20 years that maybe they don't know anything about infrastructure automation. Or the ones that are the traditional system administrator in a server room is not going to be a mastermind of C++ tomorrow. So, I mean, how we deal with these people? I mean, we're not going to get rid of them, right? We need to modernize. So we have both people and technical legacy, and that requires an investment. Like people needs to be trained, not because you organize them in a certain way, they can perform that way. Also you say, okay, but the team is cross-functional. We can have the C++ programmer and the infrastructure, but still they will be waiting in each other. You will have a lot of waste in terms of time. So you need to really train to people, like people to be both devs and ops, at least like T-shape. They don't need to be the best at everything, but you need to do some investment there. Also in their culture, and you want to bring them along. Some people don't want to do this. So you need to also like convince them that this is good. So you need to change the culture, and they have to realize that this is good for them. because I mean, actually, like this is going to be good for the business, eventually will be good for them. So invest in training your people. Also, some companies have really, really old software in really old programming languages. And those things are very hard to automate or make go fast. So eventually you will need to transform that and change it into something that you can modernize and be fast. Like in IKEA, we had code written in Pascal. There is not so many like things you can do with Pascal with the tools that are nowadays. So you need to think about what is the time that you're going to rewrite that. And also, you cannot move 3,000 persons or to do that transformation of that code and all at once. So one option is to cluster into DevOps teams. You don't have to do the whole company at once. It's not all or nothing. You can say, maybe we are going to be in this area of the software. They're going to have this DevOps mindset, like if they were a company within a company. And maybe between these teams and these teams, they're going to have still a request situation rather than a pull system or like insourcing. Eventually, those clusters become bigger, and they start merging, and you get there. So the point is that you need to do what works for you and with your own landscape, and it's going to be a trait to modernize that.
Hi, we are Eficode, and we are behind the DevOps conference. DevOps is not a role. It's a way to increase organizations' ability to deliver applications and services faster with better quality. If Agile and DevOps are not yet part of your whole organization, reach out to us and let's discuss how to make them real for you. You can find us at eficode.com. The links are in the description. Have a great time with the DevOps Conference talks.
And you need to accept that some areas will take more than others. I mean, if you have a big company, some areas like the new, what you're going to start doing, or maybe the more software ones, or things that can move to the cloud faster, maybe you can keep certain behaviors and certain ways of working there and certain practices. But maybe there's certain legacy that will take longer, that maybe you will be in the old trying to transform that, and eventually that will join the other ways of working. So also accept your pace and be smart. Don't try to force it, because if you try to force it, it will not work and probably will do more damage than good. So when do you know that is enough? I mean, it's not when you are organized in a certain way. We go back to that you need to be able to put software into production fast. So you also need to have rollout plans. It needs to be very cheap to be wrong. So you need to have all that speed. And you need to have a collaboration among all the teams. So you probably have certain business APIs, in-sourcing models, decouple architecture, and all these things that are like the metrics. When those things are starting to work and you're starting results there, is enough. It's not because all the companies working in cross-disciplinary teams. For example, hitting the plant of a sprint, knowing how long it takes you to run 10 kilometers, doesn't mean that you're running them fast. What you want to do is you want to gain speed. So like applying some methodologies is very easy to say, like to hit the targets on a sprint. So because your sprints are being successful, doesn't mean you're being fast. So focus on that, focus on how you react to market and how your teams are collaborating. Then you will know it's enough. And from there, you will go to transformation, to evolution, and hopefully to thriving. And always learn and always improve. You will never be done. But you will be a DevOps company. You don't need to do anything else anymore. It's done, even though you don't fit an exam framework or all the practices by the book.
Yeah. Trap number 4. You are applying DevOps in the new, but not on the legacy. This is also something that we really struggle at IKEA. For the past years, before we started the transformation, IKEA has decided like 10 years ago to outsource all their landscape to suppliers. So when we started transformation, we were in a very interesting situation that we have 3 engineers, developers in the whole company of 2,000 people. So 3 engineers, most of them, the others were suppliers, engineers, project managers, solution owners. You decide. How can you imagine how the transformation is? What are you doing with all these legacies? How do I work with suppliers? Suppliers, of course, they have their interests. They want to make money on behalf of IKEA. So, of course, you start new, you hire people, you start the new stuff, but the new stuff depends on the old stuff. The data is on the old stuff. You need to move data out. So how do you work with the suppliers? How do you make them to be part of your transformation? That was really tough, and we are not there because you start building the new, you want to decommission, you still have the old legacy that are running, so impossible to be really DevOps. What we have actually done, it's actually trying to change the mindset of the suppliers, meaning they need to come with us on the journey. And it's actually, we started with us as IKEA to own the product, meaning before, it was the supplier who really knew what is about the product. We were just managing. But you need to own the product. You need to know the content. You have to have the knowledge about what is the product, how I measure the success of this product, how I develop, what I deliver. You have to own it. But then how do you work with suppliers? Because they are running your operations. You need to actually integrate them in your teams. And that's what we have tried. We actually started, and this is the most, we changed the agreement model. We start integrating them, not as buying services. You are part of our team. You have to be together in this. If we are failing, the product is not because the dev team has failed, because we have failed together or we have successful together. We change. And we are not fully 100% there. We are changing the way we do the service agreements with them. So instead of a service agreement, when we count number of incidents, we actually call it experience level agreements. Meaning, let's take a look at together this product. What are the customers that we are delivering to this product? How they are experienced? Are they happy? Then we are successful together. And it's not easy because, again, you have to change the mindset not only on your company, but on the suppliers, and also their price model and the business model that they have to us. So, how do you know that you are successful on this? Also at IKEA, we use objectives and key results. I'm not sure if you use it, but we are using it. And this is how we measure that we are delivering the right value and the right outcome. So we wanted to apply for our suppliers, so they are part of these measurements. Very difficult, but this is how we are really trying to see, are we on the right track? Are you contributing to these key results with your operation or your development? Try to mix the team and try to see that the mindset of the supplier is changing and they are really starting to think about the good of the product together, not about their business model. So those are two things on how you could measure the success with your suppliers.
Trap 5. We have 6, by the way. So this one and one more to go. So one of the traps is that people feels that they are DevOps, cross teams, DevOps and operations, and all these changes, but they are releasing code into production every few months or even longer. In some cases, it's like even yearly. So that's an issue. I mean, what you want to do is to get code into production as fast as possible. That should be one of your goals, to be able to, and production might be externally or internally, whatever software you are creating to get it into the hands of the users. I mean, this one you all know, automation. Automate the hell out of everything. Like the less human interaction, we do mistakes, and also we take time. So automate. Also, frequent check-ins. Some people coach for months and months and months, and then they check in, and then there is someone needs to review that, and then it takes months and months and months, and then maybe it doesn't fit, and then fixing that. Well, and then, but the frequent check-ins, so you get the changes in the code fast, so they can also be tested fast, and you can see the result, and then you can deploy them fast. Also, one of the big issues that a lot of companies have is security, because you need there are laws, GDPR, there are millions of maybe you are working in a company that actually needs quality assurance by hand or is pharmaceutical. I mean, you cannot be releasing new versions of a medicament or a software or something that often. But there is a lot of security checks that can be done. The DevSecOps, like statics, composition analysis, all this software that can do a lot for you. So look into that and use it. A lot of security departments are very against these things, but there is a lot that can be done. And that will help you very much to gain speed. Then also a lot of pieces of software are a big piece of software. You need to be modular. This will also mean that if you are only releasing something that is failing, it will be in a part of it. You probably will not be completely down. You have a website with a menu and a search bar. If you release a wrong version of the search bar, maybe you can still navigate and be selling whatever you're selling by using the menu. Then it's not that bad to have failed in the search bar. But if the search bar would have been together with everything, maybe the whole website would have been down. So it's actually very good to think modular and be as much independent as possible from the different parts of your product. So look at your product as different pieces of products together. And of course, release them separately. You need to achieve to a situation where those releases can be as independent as possible from the other ones. Also, there are some companies that, for example, in the video game company, we have to, like when we release to the consoles, to like the Sony store or a Microsoft, they need to go through a certification process. That would mean that I cannot put code into production 7 times a week because I need to go through the certification and they have their times. But there are certain things in the game that can be modular out of that and they accept it. Then those parts we can deploy as we consider, like the live part of the game, and maybe it's bi-weekly or weekly. So try to see how you can split the things, which parts you have to be certain way because it's the nature of your business, but which ones you can bypass that and gain speed. And when will you know that you can be putting things into production that fast? I mean, when is that you can do that? Because, I mean, everybody can press a button and release stuff like, but you need to be sure that it's okay, right? So for that, you need to be ready to accept failures and mistakes. And when are you ready to accept failures and mistakes? Usually, it's when it's cheap to fail, when you have lowered the cost of failing. So again, instead of having the whole website down, only a part of it, but the rest of the website might still be functional, or your software, or whatever it is. Also, rollout plans. Like it takes 2 seconds to put a code into production, but it also should take 2 seconds to roll it back. So test your rollback routines. So it's not that bad. You put something wrong, then we take it back. So a lot of the issue of putting a software into production fast is with the risk of failure. So check out your routines and make it cheap.
And finally, number 6. It's the last one. We have more, but we had to fit into 30 minutes. Actually, like a mantra for the DevOps, it's about breaking the downward spiral. And you see that you don't break it. That means that you see that actually your teams are still struggling. The product A team fighting with the product, this is your fault, this is not my fault. You have put the code first, you have caused that problem. Or dev and ops fighting. Oh, we are not together. We are a dev, we are ops, we don't stay together at the table. So you see that actually you are not changing the culture. So how can you actually detect that and actually move out of that? First, you need to understand that the company and the teams have to come together to serve one goal. So if you can create that culture where they understand that you do for the best of your company, and it doesn't really matter if you are team A or team B, then you achieve the right culture. The second one is really, you need to come together as a team. Doesn't matter which part you are, to look for an end-to-end product. You are responsible for the whole product. It's not I'm responsible for the development. I don't really care what's happened there. I care for everything. And if it's failing because it's our fault as a team. And then it's actually what Cris mentioned before. It's to create this culture of engineering of trust and collaboration. And this is very important. And at IKEA, we say that only when you are sleeping, you are not making mistakes. So mistakes are really, really encouraged and celebrated. And this is something we can measure about measurement in how we celebrate mistakes. We have maybe now with Corona, we didn't have so many, but we have talks about what was your biggest mistake you have done this year? How did you celebrate it? So actually being able to accept that we are making mistakes and celebrating, being able to create a blameless post-mortem analysis and actually inherit and learn from it, being able to predict how I can actually run the next sprint and which speed and when I land. So this is the most important thing that you can measure that you have achieved really through collaboration. And with that said,
yeah, we arrived to almost the end of today, and we hope that from all the things we said, half an hour goes fast. You get the takeaway is that DevOps is a mindset, and it's all about the culture. It's not about following a framework, some processes, or some workflows. That doesn't matter. Those are tools to be able to get somewhere. And you need to focus in the results that you're getting, and you will not get there if you don't change the culture and the practices and the way of thinking of the people around you. That's probably the most important thing that is in DevOps, is that the people around you have that mentality and have the same goals.
Yeah, I don't know if your company has fallen in any of these traps, and if so, it doesn't mean that you are not going towards DevOps, but it's just that it doesn't need time. So have patience, work on it, accept your tempo, and of course, try to avoid traps. You'll still get there. I haven't lost the hope for IKEA either. With that, yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to take one question from the crowd. Anyone? So I'll repeat it in the microphone for the recording, which is like, what would you like to see in the next 12 months? What's your roadmap?
Actually, in my personal roadmap, when I'm talking IKEA, it's actually, I'm very much about this reusable architecture. I want to see the movement there. I want to see that culture-wise, we are ready to let the control go, and we are ready to implement that, and we are allowing other teams to contribute. And that will be a big breakthrough, I would say.
Awesome. And I have to say, I mean, your title is great, and it brings people in. You're faking it, and we know, but my gosh, you have just set the standard. This is how to do it properly, I think. So I applaud you.
Thank you. We are not there yet. Thank you.